Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste. Namaste. Namaste. Namaste. Namaste. Namaste. Namaste. Namaste. Namaste.
Celebrate.
Celebrate. Celebrate. Celebrate. Celebrate.
I am
I am
Divya
and
I am
I am
half of India.
India.
Audience. NDRI. May I request you to share the live broadcast to extend the outreach of this event. Audiences joining us via Facebook, please post your comments in the comment section. I believe you have received a folder with the program schedule, a copy of today's keynote speech, NDRI brochure, and stationery while registering. If not, please notify any NDRI representative nearby. As NDRI enters another year of its service, we take great pride in the work we have accomplished thus far and look forward to continuing our efforts to promote sustainable development in Nepal. Now, let us begin this opening ceremony by inviting our esteemed dignitaries to take their seats on the dais. Please join me in welcoming, first of all, Dr. Nawaraj Khatiwada, a founding member and president of NDRI. Dr. Khatiwada, may I please request you to take a seat on the dais and to chair this session. Thank you, Dr. Khatiwada. The chief guest of this event is Honorable Dr. Bimala Rai Paudel, former Minister, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Government of Nepal, and Member of National Assembly, Federal Parliament of Nepal. May I invite the Honorable Chief Guest to take a seat on the dais, please? Thank you, Dr. Paudel. Our keynote speaker for the event today is Dr. Somkiat Tangkit Panik, President of Thailand Development Research Institute, TDRI. Dr. Somkiat, I request you to join our esteemed dignitaries on the dais. Thank you, Dr. Tangkit Panik. May I also invite Dr. Shankar Shrestha, Executive Director of NDRI. Dr. Shrestha, please take a seat on the dais. Thank you, Dr. Shrestha, and thank you, respected dignitaries. We are now going to play the national anthem. I would like to request you all to please rise for our national anthem. Our virtual audience, please feel free to turn on your cameras to join us for the national anthem. Thank you very much, everyone. We will now formally inaugurate this event. In Nepali tradition, we light lamp at the beginning of any function to begin an event. Therefore, may I please request our honorable chief guest to light the panas. Thank you, Dr. Paudel. I would now like to take your permission to proceed ahead. And may I now invite Dr. Shrestha, Executive Director, NDRI, to deliver his welcome remarks.
Namaste and good morning. In the interest of time, please allow me to read a written speech. Respected Chair of the session, Dr. Navaraj Khatioda, President, Nepal Development Research Institute. Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. Bimala Rai Paudel, former Minister, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Government of Nepal, and Member of National Assembly, Federal Parliament of Nepal. Respected Keynote Speaker, Dr. Somkiat Tangkit Vanich, President of the Thailand Development Research Institute. Respected panelists representing think tanks in Bangladesh, India, Nepal, Pakistan, and Thailand will be joining in the second half of the program. Honorable former and current government officials from various ministries, divisions, departments of governments of Nepal, honorable members from the National Planning Commission, respected Vice Chancellor and professors from universities and research institutes, honorable excellencies and representatives from embassies and diplomatic agencies, respected representatives from think tanks, development partners, private sectors, professional associations, political parties, and media, respected NDRI's founding members, executive committee members, senior research specialists, researchers, associated experts, and NDRI alumni, respected dignitaries joining from Zoom and social media. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to welcome you on behalf of NDRI in this wonderful gathering of 20th anniversary program. We are excited to have you all participating today. In this auspicious occasion, my deepest gratitude to the 7 scholars who laid the foundation of NDRI 20 years back in 2004. 3 founding members of them are here with us today. Dr. Krishna Pahari, Senior Livelihood and Food Security Specialist at NDRI. Dr. Navaraj Khatioda, President at NDRI, and Professor Dr. Taranidhi Vatrai, Professor at Tribhuvan University. Thank you very much for gracing us with your presence today. Similarly, my gratitude to the past executive directors of NDRI and their team who have brought NDRI to this level. As the current executive director since the past 14 months, it gives me an immense honor to take responsibilities to bring NDRI to better heights in line with the vision to become the center of excellence for quality, research, education, and development. At present, NDRI has around 21 PhD scholar members and senior research specialists, around 25 researchers in diverse disciplines, more than 50 associated experts, and more than 300 field researchers. NDRI has conducted valuable researches in 4 main thematic areas. 1, livelihood and food security. 2, water and climate. 3, health, education, and environment. And 4, economic development, with JC and disaster management as our cross-cutting themes. A glimpse of NDRI's research products is exhibited in the stall outside the hall, which I request you to observe during the tea coffee break. Similarly, a short introductory video of NDRI will be screened shortly. As a value addition in memorizing our anniversary, from the last 2 years, NDRI has started the annual lecture series. And from this year onwards, we have also added a panel discussion session. 2 years back on 13 April 2021, the inaugural annual lecture entitled Social Justice, Good Governance and Development was delivered by Honorable Mr. Khilraj Regmi, former Chairman, Council of Ministers, Government of Nepal, and former Chief Justice. Similarly, last year on 13 April 2022, Dr. Bindunath Dohani, former Vice President at the Asian Development Bank and Distinguished Fellow at the Emerging Markets Forum, Washington, D.C., delivered the keynote address entitled 50 Years of Asia's Development Experience, Relevance to Setting Development Priorities in Nepal. And for this year, we have Dr. Somkiat Tangkit Panich, President from the Thailand Development Research Institute, TDRI, who have come to Nepal all the way from Thailand, who will be delivering the keynote address shortly, entitled Learning from Thailand's Development Experience, Do's and Don'ts for Developing Countries. The keynote address has also been provided to you during registration. I hope you are as much excited as us to hear Dr. Somkiat, and we hope his enormous contribution in development sector representing a think tank in Thailand will be a strong motivation for us to contributing towards achieving development in Nepal and the region. Similarly, in this panel's discussion session in the second half, panelists from the leading think tanks in Bangladesh, India, Nepal, Pakistan, and Thailand will be discussing on the history, role, and challenges of think tanks in economic development of nation. I hope all of us will be highly benefited from this discussion. Also, we are approaching the Nepali New Year 2080 Bikram Samvat in the next 3 days. On this auspicious occasion, NDRI wishes you a very happy New Year. NDRI looks forward to collaborating with you in various ways in the year 2080 and beyond. Thank you again, everyone, for being here today for this great celebration. Let the celebration begin. Warm welcome to you all. Thank you for joining. Lastly, I am pleased to convey the message of Honorable Minister, Mr. Ashok Kumar Rai, Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, Government of Nepal, who could not join this event due to his pre-scheduled meetings. However, Honorable Minister has kindly sent his message for us. Kindly allow me to read it. As the Education Minister of Nepal, I would like to express my deep appreciation for organizing this workshop held on the occasion of 20th anniversary of the Nepal Development Research Institute, NDRI. Education, science, and technology are the crucial pillars for the development of any country. And I believe that this event will play a significant role in connecting with sustainability, thereby enabling us to move towards a knowledge-based development era. I'm confident that the workshop will provide a platform for all experts from both national and international level to discuss pertinent issues of development and provide pragmatic solutions that will pave the way for the sustainable growth of Nepal. I commend the efforts of the organizer in bringing together a diverse group of individual and institutional experts to exchange ideas and insights. I request the organizers to provide the government of Nepal with a report of the event along with the recommendations that emerge from the discussions. This will enable the government to better understand the key issues of economic development of Nepal and their connection with education, science, and technology, and take appropriate steps towards their solution. Kindly convey my regards and best wishes to all the distinguished participants, panelists, and the keynote speaker. Once again, I extend my best wishes for the success of your annual day program and similar endeavors in the future. And also, I look forward to outcomes that will benefit our country's growth and development. Honorable Ashok Kumar Rai, Minister, Ministry of Education, Science and Technology. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Shrestha. Moving on, our next agenda is to provide you with more information about NDRI. To do so, we will now play an NDRI introductory video. Could I request the technical team to please play the video?
नीति विश्लेषणको माध्यमबाट नेपाल र नेपालीको उत्थानमा योगदान पुर्याउने उद्देश्यका साथ लामो समय विदेशमा रहेर उच्च शिक्षा हासिल गरेका 7 जना अध्येताहरूले सन् 2004 मा स्थापना गरेको सोच केन्द्रको नाम हो नेपाल विकास अनुसन्धान प्रतिष्ठान। मूलतः यस प्रतिष्ठानले नीति अनुसन्धान, प्रकाशन र तथ्याङ्क विश्लेषणसँग जोडिएका विभिन्न गतिविधिहरू गर्दै आएको छ। यस प्रतिष्ठानले काठमाडौँ तराई द्रुत मार्ग र बागमती जलाधार सुधार आयोजनाको प्राविधिक अध्ययनमा सहकार्य गरेको छ। यस्तै जलविद्युत परियोजनामा जलवायु परिवर्तनको प्रभाव र नेपाल खाद्य सुरक्षा अनुगमन प्रणाली जस्ता महत्त्वपूर्ण विषयमा अनुसन्धान गरेको छ। समसामयिक विषयहरूमा अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय सम्मेलन तथा राष्ट्रिय गोष्ठीहरू समेत गर्दै आएको यस प्रतिष्ठानसँग विभिन्न मन्त्रालय तथा विभागहरू, विभिन्न विश्वविद्यालयहरू, नेपाल विज्ञान तथा प्रविधि प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठान, संयुक्त राष्ट्र संघ मातहतका निकायहरू, विश्व खाद्य कार्यक्रम र इसिमोड जस्ता संस्थाहरूसँग सहकार्य गरेको अनुभव छ। पूर्व मेचीदेखि पश्चिम महाकाली र हिमालदेखि तराईसम्ममा फैलिएका 77 वटै जिल्लाहरूमा पुगेर विकास निर्माण कार्यका लागि अपरिहार्य तथ्याङ्क सङ्कलन जस्ता कार्यहरू समेत गर्दै आएको छ। आफ्नो स्थापना कालदेखि हालसम्ममा यस प्रतिष्ठानले सयौं युवाहरूलाई विभिन्न प्राविधिक, आयमूलक एवं सिपमूलक तालिम तथा रोजगारी प्रदान गरेको छ।
देशले समय समयमा भोग्नु परेका विभिन्न प्राकृतिक प्रकोप र विश्व महामारीको रूपमा फैलिएको कोभिड-19 को प्रतिकूल प्रकोपका बावजुद पनि यस प्रतिष्ठानले संस्थागत विकास, सामाजिक उत्तरदायित्व वहन, रोजगार सृजना एवं अनुसन्धान तथा प्रकाशनको क्षेत्रमा उल्लेखनीय सफलता प्राप्त गर्न सफल भएको छ। विभिन्न दात्री निकायहरूको सहयोगमा यस प्रतिष्ठानले कोभिड-19बाट प्रत्यक्ष प्रभावितहरूको श्रम, स्वास्थ्य तथा शिक्षा जस्ता क्षेत्रहरूमा परेको प्रभावबारे तथ्याङ्कमा आधारित सर्वेक्षण समेत गर्न सफल भएको छ। महामारीको समयमा फोनबाट गरिने वैकल्पिक शिक्षण र अभिभावक शिक्षक विद्यार्थीसँग सीधा ताल्लुक राख्ने कार्यक्रमहरूको सञ्चालन यस प्रतिष्ठानका नयाँ र सफल प्रयासहरू हुन्। विपद र महामारीका बेला सामाजिक उत्तरदायित्व वहन गर्दै विभिन्न अभियान, तालिम, राहत कार्यक्रम तथा चेतनामूलक कार्यक्रम सञ्चालन गरेको यस प्रतिष्ठानले आगामी दिनमा पनि यस्तै फरक किसिमका कार्यक्रमहरू सञ्चालन र पहलहरू गर्दै लैजाने लक्ष्य लिएको छ। नेपाल विकास अनुसन्धान प्रतिष्ठानले महासञ्चार सङ्घको सहकार्य एवं नेपाल सरकार स्वास्थ्य तथा जनसङ्ख्या मन्त्रालय, राष्ट्रिय स्वास्थ्य, शिक्षा तथा सूचना केन्द्र र नेपाल अर्बुद रोग निवारण सङ्घको सहयोगमा धूम्रपान र सुर्तीजन्य पदार्थबाट हुने नकारात्मक असरका बारेमा चेतनामूलक श्रव्य दृश्य सामग्री निर्माण गर्नुका साथै विभिन्न रेडियो कार्यक्रमहरू समेत निर्माण तथा प्रसारण गर्दै आएको छ।
सोच केन्द्रहरूलाई नियमन गर्ने दिशाका कुनै स्पष्ट नीति नियम नभएको हालको अवस्थामा यस प्रतिष्ठानले हालसम्म विकसित भएका प्रणालीहरूलाई संस्थागत गर्दै अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय नेटवर्कको विस्तार, अनुसन्धानबाट प्राप्त तथ्याङ्कहरूको प्रकाशन र नीतिगत वकालतमा जोडिने लक्ष्य लिएको छ। यसका लागि नेपाल विकास अनुसन्धान प्रतिष्ठान संघीय, प्रदेश र स्थानीय सरकारका साथै अन्य सरोकारवालाहरूको सहयोगको लागि हार्दिक अपिल गर्दछ। हाम्रै जीवनकालमा समृद्ध नेपाल निर्माणको सपना साकार पार्न हामी सबै एकजुट हौं।
you very much. I hope this glimpse of NDRI's history and works shed more light on our organization. I have now come to one of the main parts of this session. As you are aware, our keynote speaker is Dr. Somkiat Tangkitphanik, President of Thailand Development Research Institute. As we are approaching this important part, may I please request Dr. Joy Kumar Gurung to introduce Dr. Tangkitphanik.
Thank you. Distinguished guests and delegates, Namaskar, very good morning. It's an honor and privilege to introduce today's keynote speaker, Dr. Somkiat Tangkitphanik. This occasion, in fact, reminds me of when the Thailand Development Research Institute, TDRI, warmly welcomed me back in 2019. Now I have the opportunity to reciprocate the same hospitality and honor on behalf of NDRI and all of you today. Dr. Somkiat Tangkitphanik is a renowned economist and the current president of the Thailand Development Research Institute, TDRI, which is one of the leading think tanks in Thailand. Dr. Tangkitphanik obtained his PhD in computer science from Tokyo Institute of Technology. He has also been recognized as a leading Thai expert in the area of development strategy and policies such as in trade and investment, innovations, education, and ICT. He was the main architect of the Thai Public Board Service, PBS, the first public television in Southeast Asia, and many media laws in Thailand. Under his leadership, the Thai Development Research Institute, TDRI, was nominated the Person of the Year in 2012 by the Bangkok Post. Prior to his presidency, he had held various positions at the TDRI, including Vice President for Research and Director of the Macroeconomic Policy Program. Dr. Tangkitphanik has authored numerous publications and research papers on various economic issues, including trade and investment, macroeconomic policy, poverty reduction, and social development. In addition to his work at the TDRI, Dr. Tangkitphanik has also been involved in various academic and professional organizations. He has received numerous awards and honors for his contribution to economic research and policy analysis, including the Outstanding Research Award from the Thailand Research Fund. Now, let us hear furthermore about him from his own deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gurung. We all are eagerly waiting for Dr. Tangkitphanik's speech. So without any delay, please Dr. Somkiat Tangkitphanik.
First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Jaya Kumar Gurung for his very kind introduction to me. Honorable Dr. Bimala Rai Pauyao, Dr. Nawaraj Khatiwadi, President of NDRI, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues and friends from the Nepal Development Research Institute, NDRI, and international development communities. It is with this great pleasure and honor that I stand before you to congratulate the NDRI on its 20th anniversary. Over the past 2 decades, NDRI has played a crucial role in providing research, insights, and policy recommendations to guide sustainable development of Nepal, as demonstrated in the previous short video. Your dedication to promoting social, economic, and environmental growth is truly commendable. As we celebrate NDRI's important milestone, we are also excited by the approach of our own organization's 40th anniversary next year. TDI was fortunate to have received support from the international development community, particularly some endowment fund from the Canadian Development Agency, or CEDA at the time, during our inception years. This backing has played a crucial role in shaping our organization growth and success. We have also learned a great deal from the development experience of other countries, and thus are very eager to give back to the international development community by sharing Thailand's development experiences and our roles in helping the Thai government and the Thai society formulate and implement better policies. It is true that it is very difficult to adapt one country experience to another. Context is something that matters a lot. Anyhow, I would like to share our experience, the good way and the bad ways that we have experiencing, so that I hope that some of our experience might be useful to the development of Nepal and other countries in the region. The first part of my talk would be the Thailand development experience. Thailand is often held as a model of development success, marked by steady, robust growth and impressive poverty reduction. The country has shifted from a low-income status to an upper middle-income nation within a single generation. Between 1960 and 1996, the Thai economy grew at an average annual rate of 7.5%, and then dropped to 5% from 1999 to 2005 after the Asian financial crisis. This economic expansion created millions of jobs and lifted a vast number of people out of poverty. Improvements have been observed in various aspects of well-being, such as increased years of education, near universal healthcare insurance coverage, and expand social security measures. However, the export-driven model that has previously powered much of Thailand's economic growth appears to have lost momentum due to stagnating productivity. Private investment dropped from over 40% of GDP in 1997 to only 17% of our GDP as of 2019. While foreign direct investment, or FDI, and participation in the global value chains have shown signs of stagnation. The economic growth of Thailand is mainly a result of the country's structural transformation. By structural transformation, I mean the development primarily driven by labor shifting from low productivity agriculture to higher productivity services and manufacturing sectors. Although sector-specific productivity growth also contributes to overall economic growth, its impact is comparatively minor. So Thailand is basically driven by the growth of the shift, the growth in the manufacturing sector and the service sector shifted from labors in the agricultural sector, not a lot by the growing productivity in each sector. The proportion of labor in the agricultural sector has steadily declined. However, with diminishing surplus labor in agriculture and an aging workforce, it is unlikely that structural transformation will continue to reallocate resources from agriculture to more productive sectors as it did in the past. Manufacturing displays modest indigenous backward linkages and remains dependent on foreign inputs and faces increasing competition from neighboring countries, for example, Vietnam and Indonesia. Travel and tourism, a pillar of the national service sector, has expanded in volume, reaching 39 million foreign tourists just before the COVID time, but not in the value added generated per tourist. Since 2015, the rate of poverty reduction in Thailand has also slowed down, reflecting a weak economy and stagnant agriculture, business, and wage incomes. Poverty reduction even reversed during the COVID-19 outbreak in 2020 due to the partial lockdown and the gradual phasing out of the government relief measures. A 2021 World Bank survey estimated that over 70% of households experienced a decline in income since the COVID-19 outbreak in March 2020, with the most vulnerable groups being the being hit hardest. GDP growth has slowly rebounded, but remains below pre-pandemic levels. In conclusion, although Thailand has made progress in its economic transformation, the country faces challenges in transforming to a knowledge-based dynamic economy, addressing income inequality. This situation raises concern about possibility of Thailand being stuck in a middle income trap where progress stalls and the nation fails to achieve high income status. As of 2020, you can show the slide on the competitiveness ranking, maybe the third or the fourth one. Please move the slide. Not this, yeah, this one. As of 2020, Thailand scored 68 out of 100 in the World Economic Forum's Competitiveness Index, making it the 40th most competitive country globally. However, this overall score masks disparities in the nation performance across different dimensions. In particular, Thailand excels in macroeconomic stability, which is very important. Macro stability is a must for economic development. And then we also excels in health and the financial system, each of which score over 85 points. These strengths allow the country to navigate the COVID-19 crisis, which mainly affected healthcare and the economy relatively well. On the other hand, Thailand lacks in innovation capacity, as you can see from the chart here, and also lacking in product market, meaning that there is not enough competition in several markets, and also in institution. Institution basically reflected the government capacity, laws and regulations, ICT adoptions, and skills. Thailand's performance in infrastructure, business dynamism, and market size falls between these two extremes. In this second part, I would like to talk about lessons from Thailand, the do's, what we have been doing right. Thailand's economic transformation, as mentioned earlier, can be attributed to these key initiatives. First, strengthen macroeconomic foundation. Thailand has built a robust macroeconomic foundation through prudent fiscal policies, relatively efficient tax collection, and effective monetary management by its central bank, which is now becoming already independent. This has maintained economic stability, controlled inflation, and fostered investment and growth. Following the 1997 Asian financial crisis, Thailand's macroeconomic institutions were strengthened by making the central bank more independent and bolstering fiscal discipline. We have legislated some laws that try to curb government spending to a sustainable level. Secondly, we have expanded access to basic education, acknowledging education's role in fostering human capital and driving economic development. Thailand has invested substantially in expanding access to basic education nationwide, including building schools in remote areas. We have now altogether at least 30,000 schools nationwide. Consequently, the country has achieved near universal primary education, increased literacy rates, and higher enrollment in secondary and tertiary education. The education budget remains a significant portion of the government spending, roughly around 20 to 25% yearly. Third, pursue foreign income sources. Yeah, the next slide, please. Countries have their own ways of generating foreign income. For example, in Laos, PDR, one neighbor of Thailand, its main business model, by business model, I mean the way that the country can acquire foreign currency, is to generating electricity and sell electrical power to neighboring countries, Thailand, Vietnam, and Cambodia, and also sells minerals to neighboring countries, to China. Vietnam is also an outstanding country in terms of integrating itself into the global value chain. So Vietnam is already becoming a very major manufacturing hub of the Southeast Asia. It has produced mobile phone and other electronic goods. Cambodia focused on producing garment, I think quite similar to the case of Nepal here. But Nepal also have tourism. In the case of Thailand, we have sought foreign income sources by promoting its tourism industry. That's the very beginning of our development. We also try to boost our exports and encourage foreign direct investment. The inbound tourism industry promoted since 1984 contributed around 12% of GDP now, before the COVID outbreak. Industrialization facilitated by Thailand's openness policy and the active promotion of FDI has evolved from labor-intensive industries to capital-intensive and high-tech sectors. We have tried to understand the global geopolitics, and at the time there was conflict between Japan and the US, and we realized that the yen will appreciate and make it not profitable to produce in Japan. So the Thai government at the time has built infrastructure in the north, in the eastern part of Thailand, and attract investment from Japan. And that formed the base of the economic development in Thailand. As a result, Thailand has become a major exporting country of automotive and electronics products in the region, and our export products has now been quite diversified. We have everything from clothing, fashion, food, processed food, also electronics, automotive, petrochemical, and many others. So the problem with Thailand is not we are not diversified. We are very diversified. We also have very big service sector dominated by tourism. So that's part of our success story. Fourth, we have developed essential infrastructure. The Thai government has invested in improving basic infrastructure, including transportation networks, power system, and telecommunications. These enhancements have fostered connectivity within the country, promoted regional integration, and enabled the country to capitalize on emerging economic opportunities and compete globally. Bangkok now has over 10 metro lines in operation, and for well-paved lane is the norm for intra-provincial highways. Thailand has almost completed in upgrading its rail system to be dual-track network nationwide. It is also constructing 2 high-speed rails, one linking the country's 3 main airports, the other linking with China-Laos high-speed rail network. Fifth, establish basic social welfare. Thailand has made strides in creating a basic social welfare system, particularly through the implementation of universal healthcare since 2002. These initiatives ensure access to affordable, quality healthcare system for the majority of the population, contributing to improve health outcome and greater social equity. The World Health Organization often cites Thailand's universal health coverage as an exemplary case for middle-income countries. Through these initiatives, Thailand has successfully transformed its economy and laid the foundation for sustainable growth and development. However, challenges persist in transforming to a knowledge-based dynamic economy, avoiding the middle-income trap and reducing income inequality. Now, my third part, lesson from Thailand, the don'ts. While Thailand has successfully transformed its economy, it has made several mistakes along the way that serve as a caution for other developing countries. First of all, we have widely utilized microeconomic measures to address macroeconomic issues. Thailand has repeatedly used microeconomic measures such as subsidy or price control to address macroeconomic issues like rural poverty and inflation, mistakenly believing that farmers are poor and must be financially supported. Successive governments have heavily subsidized farmers under the price pledging or rice price guarantee schemes, costing billions of dollars in public funds. Similarly, the government has repeatedly maintained artificially low fuel prices to curb inflation and help the poor by using oil price stabilization fund. So basically, the government intervened a lot in the agricultural sector, spend a lot of money without helping the actual well-being of the Thai farmers. It also intervened into the fuel price market, trying to fix the fuel price while the market price is increasing, which become futile and cost a lot of public money. These practices have not only proven ineffective, but also damaged public finances and produce unintended consequences. For example, interfering with agriculture market mechanisms has hindered economic transformation, as witnessed by the fact that around 30% of our workforce remains in the low productivity agricultural sector and excessively high level among middle-income countries. In this area, Thailand is an outlier. If you have reached an income level of around 6,000 US dollar per capita, you don't supposed to have this kind of high ratio of workers in the agricultural sector. Similarly, fixing fuel prices below the market rate has encouraged inefficient energy consumption and excessive greenhouse gas emissions, which will make the country more difficult to adapt to the global climate change. Secondly, we have tolerated corruption for too long. During Thailand's economic transformation, corruption was initially considered a minor cost of doing business, just like a lubricant, and was therefore tolerated. However, over time, corruption grew and began to distort policy decision-making. This led to negative consequences, such as unnecessary construction projects and the enactment of harmful regulations designed to maintain the flow of bribe money. Due to the long-term toleration of corruption, Thailand's Corruption Perception Index ranking has significantly declined, dropped from 76 in 2015 to 101 in 2022, which is only marginally ahead of Nepal. I think the ranking for Nepal is 110, and Thailand is slipping down, Nepal is going up. So that's good news. Please keep your momentum. Don't tolerate corruption. Third, the Thai society has allowed big business to monopolize the economy. The monopolization of economic sectors by big businesses can lead to increased prices for consumers and downstream industries, hinder the growth of smaller enterprises, discourage investment in innovation, and create politically influential players with strong connection to the political power. Despite enacting Business Competition Act in 1999, Thailand has yet to prosecute any single cases of market monopolization or abuse of market power, nor has it blocked any big business mergers. Consequently, a few dominant firms control various markets including modern retail, alcoholic beverages, telecommunications, movie theaters, and hospitals, just a few to mention. Worse still, many monopoly result from the government policies. So the government, rather than trying to curb monopolization of the economy, in a way also promoted by government laws and regulations. Fourth, the Thai people had let excessive income inequality persist for too long. High income inequality can result in low economic growth rates, political instability, and social unrest. It can also lead to costly economic populist policies that aim to redistribute income to the poor, such as providing farm subsidy or controlling fuel prices. As mentioned before, the level of income inequality in Thailand remains high compared to most East Asian countries. Wealth inequality is even more striking. For example, 2018 Credit Suisse report revealed that Thailand ranked first on the world in terms of wealth inequality, with the richest 1% of the population controlling 67% of the wealth share, highly unequal society. And fifth, we have allowed state capacity to deteriorate. The development of a country cannot solely rely on market forces. It has also to depend on the capacity of the state, which encompasses all branches of government. At a minimum, the government must maintain order, enforce property rights laws, adjudicate contracts, and provide various basic public services, such as education, healthcare, and infrastructure. Without the state capacity to collect tax and revenue, the provision of such public goods and public services become impossible. As shown in this chart, you can see some anomaly here. In many countries, the state's capacity tends to increase with economic development. The more you become wealthier, the state becomes more competent. However, in Thailand, the state's capacity has declined over time. According to the International Country Risk Guide indicator of quality of government, the Thai state's capacity score has significantly decreased in the past 2 decades. This decline is partly attributed to the growing compensation gap between the private and the public sectors. Now people choose to work for the private sector because it's paid much more than working in the government sector. That's why the quality of the bureaucrats has declined. But also there is a problem of erosion of meritocracy due to political interference and the tightening of procedural administrative rules aimed at preventing corruption. So corruption is something noteworthy. If you cannot control corruption, you try to do something that can be really counterproductive. For example, believing that the public sector is corrupted, we try to legislate more laws and regulation, curbing every movement of the public sector, which make the quality of the government decline. So these two are related. Now, in my last part, I would like to provide some backgrounds for further panel discussions. I will talk about the roles of think tanks in promoting development. Think tanks can play a crucial role in policy development by proposing well-researched policies and warning against harmful ones based on research and experience. They can also make policy-making process more transparent and democratic by informing and engaging the public. Lastly, they can help strengthen the state's capacity to solve the problems. First, developing evidence-based policies. One of the primary roles of think tank is to support policy development by providing research, analysis, and recommendations to government officials and policymakers on what actions to take or to avoid. At TDRI, we have categorized policy recommendation into 3 groups. This is the key performance indicator that we measure against our research team. There are 3 types of policy impact. The first one is to correct misunderstanding in the public. Second one is to warn against ill-conceived policies. And the third one is to propose new policy for government adoption and implementation. Examples of our work include demonstrating that most farmers are not poor, as widely believed. We have shown data and statistics to show that there are so many people that are poor but are not farmers, and there are many rich farmers who are far from being poor at all. So targeting farm subsidy to subsidize farm household through price intervention is not the best policy measure to reduce rural poverty. As a result, we warn against using government agencies to replace the market mechanism in buying and selling rice, which would ruin the market. And we had suffered a lot a few years back by these measures. We also propose a more effective policy in helping poor farmers by improving their productivity using modern farming technology. So there's something that is hard, but it's really important to implement to increase productivity in the long run, rather than to helping by hoarding cash to so-called the poor group. Second is to enhance public discourse. Think tanks can contribute significantly to public discourse by engaging with various stakeholders, including the media, academia, civil society, and the public at large. There are many ways that think tank can promote the development. First, you can write a report and submit to the government, but also you need to educate the public. So think tanks can facilitate informed discussions and debate on critical issues, fostering a culture of transparency and accountability. The primary channels for think tanks to engage the public are through conducting seminars, giving interviews to the media, and publishing op-ed articles. TDI has actively worked with the media to inform and engage the public through our weekly television program on Thailand's public broadcaster, a weekly radio program, bi-weekly op-ed columns in Thai and in English, and heavily use our social media platforms. We also participate in disseminating information through Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and more recently in TikTok. The third part for think tank is to strengthen state capacity. If the state has the capacity to implement proposed policies, the roles of think tanks can be very simple, limited to policy research and policy formulation. However, as economic and social problems become more complex, it becomes increasingly challenging for governments to address them independently. So if we just adopt policies, best practices from developed countries and try to implement in our country, generally speaking, it will not be successful, because not only the context is different, the capacity of the state is also different. As the capacity of the Thai state has declined, TDI attempts to help the government to cooperate with the business sectors and the civil societies in designing, advocating, and implementing policies. Examples of those collaborative efforts include our anti-corruption research team, working with the government, civil society organizations, and business organizations to promote and implement so-called regulatory guillotine project to get rid of outdated regulations. We have researched and found that corruption does not only arise from the morals of the public officials, but is a systemic issue. If you have outdated laws and regulations, that will call for trouble. So a regulatory guillotine project is aiming at getting rid of outdated regulations. For the first time, we have found that there are over 100,000 laws and regulations in Thailand, around half of which should be getting rid of. Likewise, our education reform team helps the Ministry of Education work closely with corporations, the academia, social enterprises, and civil society organizations to design and implement an education sandbox covering over 1,000 schools. So another function of think tank is to work as coordinator or adapter, linking the government and the private sector and the civil society group If we are trusted, then we will be able to perform this function. In closing, I would like to extend my heartfelt congratulations to NDRI on your 20th anniversary. As you embark on the next phase of your journey, I would like to extend my warmest wishes for continued success and growth in your future endeavors. I look forward to witnessing your future achievements and are eager to strengthen our collaboration, exchanging knowledge and experiences for the betterment of both our countries and the international development community. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tankit Phanik, for your wonderful and enlightening deliberation. We now have some time for a few questions for the discussion session. This discussion session will be moderated by the chair of this program, Dr. Nawaraz Khatiwada. Over to you now, Dr. Khatiwada.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Somkiat, for a wonderful deliberation, and thank you for giving us a wonderful morning. I think all of you, all our distinguished participants, both at the hall here as well as in the virtual platform, you must have enjoyed the talk. Now we would like to move ahead with some discussion. Maybe you can ask some question, and as well as the colleagues who are attending on the virtual platform, kindly put your question on the chat box. And of course, here, maybe I would just like to request you to indicate if you would like to ask any particular question. So I'm getting a call from, can I ask you to take this? This is from the Joint Secretary of Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So please take that. And I had a good discussion with him before this event. Mr. Dhan Bahadur Oli, he looks after the SAARC mistake in other regional association, and he also wished us all the best for this program. So maybe first of all, I would like to go to the virtual side. If you have, and our technical team, if you have received any question, so I would like to ask you to pass it to us. And you can also write on the chat box that they can put their question, and kindly let us know because we cannot see here. If you let us know the participants, how many participants on the virtual, and if you can just give the countries, that would be really nice. Okay, so we have some participant here. Actually, we expected I think I could see our deputy chief of mission in Bangladesh, Nepal Embassy at the Dhaka, Bangladesh, Lalita Silwal, ma'am. Thank you so much for attending. You are there. I could see you. And similarly, I could see some of the students from AIT joining there. And I could also see some of the colleagues because of the time zone difference. And some of the colleagues, they attended for some time, I think here from US and Canada also. Okay, now, so I would like to, okay, yes, Dr. Mukarki.
I would like to congratulate Dr. Somkiat for expressing, different perspective, the do's and don'ts in the history of Thai development. I just have a quick question. Now, you have highlighted the capacity of the state, which, if not improved, will not be able to really provide the public services in a sustained manner. My question to this issue is, in Thailand, there has been, multiple times, military government and the civil government. Have you noticed any changes or any significant differences in terms of the corruption control or the improvement of the state capacity to implement the laws and the kind of impact it had in the national economy. Please highlight on that.
This is a really interesting but really difficult question to address indeed. Certainly, the state capacity in Thailand has declined, as I shown in my presentation. Your question is whether there is any difference between military and civilian government. Yeah, there are. First of all, we have a study that found that civilian government tends to respond more responsibly to the public welfare. All the measures, public welfare measures in Thailand, most of them were created under civilian governments, elected governments. For example, the universal healthcare policy, which is one of the most admired feature of the Thai welfare, for example, by the WHO, has been created around 15 years ago when the government is strong enough and responsive enough to provide welfare to the people. The rights of workers as well has been strengthened during civilian elected government. Military government have sometimes, a kind of image of we are not corrupting. We try to deliver. We try to be efficient. But if you look at the global landscape, even though the experience of East Asia, South Korea, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Malaysia and Singapore seems to indicate that if you have a strong authoritarian government, you certainly can deliver the results. And the Chinese example of transforming its economy during the past 20 years has tried to reinforce that kind of image. But if there is one very clean, strong Singaporean government like, there are so many ones maybe in Africa that are authoritarian. They might not be militarily run, but they are authoritarian. They are not. They don't have legitimacy of being elected by the people. So corruption level, don't expect that authoritarian government can really produce results. Strong government is a must for the state capacity, but not necessarily authoritarian government. On the other hand, we have found that decentralizing central government services into the local government really improve the satisfaction of the voters. So if you decentralize certain functions to local government, more corrupt will arise, which appear to be the case because it has been reported in the media that certain local government has built some unnecessary infrastructure, which might indicate there's corruption over there. That reflects not only the cost, but also because decentralization exposed the public to see increased transparency and make the local people understand what's going on more. So they cried out more of corruption. That's why it makes news. So in order to understand the cause and effect and the relationship between military authoritarian government and civilian government versus many indicators, we have to be look at the detail and really understand what's going on. So in short, in terms of corruptions, there are not so much difference. In terms of delivery, certainly for some kind of action, authoritarian or strong government can produce some quick result. If that kind of result can be achieved by a stroke of a pen. If you need a law, with a stroke of a pen, a law can be announced by the junta, for example. But don't be disillusioned. Don't be illusioned that the junta will be free of vested interests. They are also full of business tycoons backing them, trying to create legitimacy for them. So democracy, as I think have been meant by the issue, is the least problematic ways of governing. It may not deliver quick results, but it has legitimacy. And if we strengthen the government, strengthen the civil society, democracy can deliver something.
Okay, thank you. I think I could see our colleague here. So I would like to request you kindly introduce yourself.
This is Ganesh Guru, Chancellor of the Ganda University. I appreciate the keynote address of our Dr. Somai, and I am highly impressed with his speech that he categorized policy recommendation into 3 groups. My concern is, does the Thai government accept, digest your suggestions like that? You have given so many issues about development and the corruption issues. I agree with you. My question is that whether the Thai government digest, accept, or take your suggestions positively. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Basically, to main channels for think tanks to convey to the government. TDI and I think NDRI as well is independent organization. They are not part of the government. So there are pros and cons of designing a think tank to be inside or outside the government. If you are inside the government, you have a direct line to the policy makers, to the power, right? You can just submit the report and hope that it will be implemented. In the second decade of TDI, we also enjoy that kind of moment. There's a technocratic government. Many of them are our former researchers to be in the government. That's the easiest way that we can submit the report to them and then get implemented. Even though we are outside the government, we have very close link with the government at the time. But now that the regime has changed a lot, Thailand has been democratized. There's no longer honeymoon period for a technocratic government. The ministers are elected by the people and they have their own way, their own thinking. So even though you are inside the government, it is very difficult for you to propose anything that they don't like. They just silence you. But if you are outside, you may have difficulties connecting with the government because you're not part of the government. But if you can convince the voter, then elected government will have to respond to you. The way that think tank can communicate to the government, there are 2 paths, one directly. But if you do that alone, sometimes it is successful, sometimes it won't be successful. It depends on the government agenda. But if you convey your ideas, educate the public, inform the public, inform the voters, if the voter buys your idea in the marketplace of idea, then there's highly likely that your recommendations will be adopted by the government. From TDI experience, we have tried both ways. And I think the 2 ways are not exclusionary. We can send a report to government, engage them, because everyone would like to be engaged. If we write a wonderful report and submit to them, tell them, please implement this, likely it will be ignored. So the process of writing a report have to be inclusive. You have to have consultation with government, business, and also civil society group, so that your report are well balanced and reflects all the viewpoints, have very little weaknesses. That's one way, and you submit the report. The other way is that at the same time, you should not also limit yourself to submitting report to the government, but also to work with the public through the media, through seminars, through forums, So I think there are two ways which are not exclusive and should be done together at the same time.
Thank you for your nice keynote presentation. My query is also somehow related to Professor Gurung's question. I'm also wondering whether to what extent the research or recommendations or the results of the research by think tanks or research institutes like NDRI have been taken by the government. To what percent? So, I mean, is there some one-to-one mapping, or the percentage of recommendations is more than the percentage of percentage taken by the government? That is my query. Yeah.
Thank you. You'll be surprised that the percentage of, government accepting policy recommendations from think tank almost anywhere is really low. I would aim for 10% acceptance rate. This is pretty much like a startup. Venture capital, you invest in not only one company, right? You invest in many, maybe
Right.
10. You go bankrupt.
You're right.
But the one that you make you thing. Most of the time, the policy impact will not be straightforward. You have to invest a lot. You have to propose a lot as well. Propose a lot and propose well. But hoping for the worst, that maybe only 10% accepted would be good enough.
Yes, please.
My name is Uttam Babu Shrestha. I work at the Global Institute for Interdisciplinary Studies. Thank you, Dr. Tang Ki Vanik, for this wonderful sharing of the learnings from Thailand's development, which indeed illuminate us. But given the nature of the participant I can see here, most of us work in the think tank, which is run by private or public funds. So I would like to know a little bit more about your experience at this TDRI, since you are the president of that organization. What are the challenges that you face being as a think tank in Thailand in terms of like generating research fund, disseminating the results, and also the previous participants also asked, how the condition of the uptake of the results of the research that you have been, and how have you overcome the challenges? Can you share some of your experience? Thank you.
Thank you. This is a really tough question indeed, and it faces us every day. We have simultaneously, we have three challenges at the same time, and it's interrelated. The first one for all think tanks, I think, to get the best mind to work with you, getting the best and the brightest to work with you. In the past, it has not been so difficult because at the time we are the only think tank in town. But now the private sector has grown very fast. Thailand has been successfully, economically speaking. So there are commercial banks that would like to create its own research unit. And there are many other government agencies that would like to have think tank as well. So competing for manpower is the most important challenge that we have. The way we solve it is we now use our savings. We have been in operation for almost 40 years, so we more or less have certain kinds of saving. And we use that one for scholarship to send a bright student to study abroad. And we do active recruitment. For example, in February this year, I've been to the UK to recruit the students there, visit campus in the London School of Economics, and everywhere talk to students, try to make them interested in doing policy research work rather than doing consulting work. Consulting works pay very well, maybe 3-4 times that our compensation. And also commercial banks also pays really well. So they attract many bright economists there. So that's the most important challenge that we have, to attract the best mind. This is really important. Unless you have the best people, it is really difficult for you to gain credibility and convey your message. Second one is also related to the first one, is about to seek finance. Seeking funding is always an issue for think tanks, independent think tanks. Certainly there are think tanks in the world that do not have this problem. For example, the Korean think tanks. Korean have so many wonderful think tanks. The Korean Development Institute, NDRI, which TDI model after. The Korean International Economic, there are so many, they're attached to every ministry. They are inside the government. They don't need to worry about funding. But independent think tanks, NDRI, TDRI, we have to seek funding at the same time. And as a private sector, we cannot bid for we cannot, have a direct contact with the government. We have to bid for every project. So that requires a lot of work. So you have to attract the best mind, you have to seek funding. And also, lastly, you have to create if you cannot create impact and show it to your future workers, they are not going to come and work with you, because it takes a long time to produce policy impact, rather than to produce something, finish one project in the private sector and earns a lot of money. You have to work hard at a think tank, and the failure rate is very high, 90%, right? So you have to motivate them to achieve the public goods, serving the country. So these are the main three challenges that we are facing.
Okay, thank you so much. I think maybe, yes, I could see two hands. So I would like to take all the questions, and then maybe you can, because we are approaching the end of the discussion. So maybe Rambabu Nepal sir first, then I could see two hands at the back. So please put your question and maybe make it very brief. And our colleague, Dr. Divas Basnet, he says that the question has to be with the question mark. So please, make it, and, so all the questions we take. So Rambabu sir.
Thank you so much. I sincerely appreciate Dr. Somkiat for his very wonderful presentation. I have only one question, because other colleagues have already asked. Because to what extent the TDRI has to interact with parliamentary committees, because parliament is the place where the national policy is approved and presented and approved. So that to what extent the TDRI is communicating and the response, get the invitation questions from the parliamentary committees, so that the policy can be more effective, your recommendation can be more effective.
Yeah, in our case, I think to Dr. Somkiat, the parliamentary committee is the most powerful, I think the instrument. So that is a very good question. Can I go back to the next? Yes, your question, please. Kindly introduce yourself.
Yes, thank you. I represent here Nepal Research and Education Networks and organizations working for creating research ecosystems using ICTs. My concerns is related to the role of scientific communities, scientific activities, and scientific infrastructures for the development of the nations. Actually, we may miss that important components in our keynote speaker presentations. So could you please shed light on that aspects as well? So how the scientific communities contributed for the development of the Thailand's footage. And I have recently heard about the Thai supercomputer as well, and other very critical infrastructure, which is very important for the current development and to get the pace as well.
Thank you. Your introduction, please.
I'm Rajan Parajuli from Nepal Research and Education Network.
Okay, thank you. Maybe another question. Yeah, two more at the back.
Thank you. I'm Yadav Khanal. I'm retired from the Nepal Foreign Service. Thank you, Dr. Somkiat, for wonderful presentation. But the first question because I was a bit late. I consider Thailand as one of the model country for the development of different sectors in our region. Being myself as a person from agricultural country, I just wanted to know about the agricultural state of Thailand. I know that the government had opened agricultural farms, model agricultural farms in different provinces of the country. And in fact, as I know that the royal family also was involved in development of those agricultural farms for research according suitable to the particular province. And then that was actually, in fact, it was model for the development of agriculture in Thailand. And those experiences can be shared to many other countries. I just wanted to know about the status of those agricultural farms, their contribution and economic development through those agricultural researches. Just I wanted to know about this. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. And finally, at the back, our colleague there.
Morning and namaste everyone. This is Bal Krishna Shah from the Himalayan Times newspaper. I'm a journalist. My question is related to gender equality and with generation war. If we'll talk about the proportion of population of females in Nepal, then it has more than 50%. Actually, it is 52.02%. But the participation of female is 33% only. So I think there is some issues related to that on the level of policy making. Another question is that there is a war going on between old political parties and new political parties that we can say as generation war. So how to deal with these kind of things and how can we solve it? Because these problems are directly related with the policy level making or decision level making process.
Okay. Thank you. I think we got that. And I would like to, there's a final question here from Professor Dr. Taranidhi Bhattarai. Sir, I would like to mix my question also to your question and, read that. So may I request you to kindly stand up, so that all of us know that you are Professor Dr. Taranidhi Bhattarai, founding member of NDRI. Thank you so much for putting this question. This question is related to, medium of instruction in the schools, as well as I think for the government or other, engagement. So for example, in the school in Nepal, we emphasize on, English. And there are some schools, if the kids speak Nepali in the premises of schools, then they are given some punishment. Okay? So this sort of situation, what is the question is, how about Thailand? How about your primary education, high school? How about the medium of instruction? Is it Thai or is it English? And what is your opinion? Whether, for the development of a nation, at least for the primary or high school level education, what medium of instruction, what language should be there? Thank you. So this is the last question. So over to you.
Thank you for all these wonderful questions. I may not be able to answer to all of them, but I'll try to be as possible. On the first questions about the role of parliamentary committee, actually, for a think tank in a democratic society, you have to be willing to work with everyone that have legitimacy from the people. So we have worked with the administrative or executive branch, the government, the cabinet, also with the parliament, and also with the judiciary branch. So from time to time, we have been invited to give opinions or evidence to governmental committees, parliamentary committees, and in Thailand, there are many, bright, really smart scientists who can publish in international journal, gaining a lot of international reputation. The problem at the moment is that the world frontier, in order for you to publish in a top journal, which is to increase your university ranking, you have to be at the frontier. But the country's problem is not at the frontier. So there is a big gap in that. If you like to be excellent academically, from time to time, you are viewed as you are not producing something really useful to the immediate use of the society. So that there's a tension between demand side and supply side of universities. And there are too few professors who are very well connected to the private sector so that he or she can produce results that can be used in the market and in policy research as well. On agriculture, agriculture used to be something that the Thai people are proud of, but it's no longer the case. I think this reflects a big failure from our government. We spend too much money on the order of 100 billion baht. 100 billion baht, you can multiply that by 4. So it's around 400 billion rupees per year to intervene into the market. But at the same time, we only provide around 400 million rupee on agricultural research. So rather than increasing productivity, you are trying to solve the daily problem of the farmers, trying to relieve our farmers' debt, trying to solve the problems of, low price of agricultural product, something like that. But in the end, you spend a lot of money without solving any real problem. Now, I'm on the mode of instruction. As the world is integrating, this is already a globalized world. So in order for future generation to prosper, they have to understand what's going on in the world. So English is a must. So in Thailand, we have really high inequality. So children of the well-to-do, the best-to-do family, send their student to international school to get English competency and to get modern practical education, rather than sending to governmental schools that will learn Thai and basically cannot speak English, cannot communicate in English. This is a shame, because Thailand is a hub of tourism, a hub for foreign direct investment, as well as we export a lot, we import a lot. So we expect our people to be capable of, communicating to foreigners. Yes, we can communicate in simple way, to receive tourists, for example, but we cannot upgrade our capability to, for example, to negotiate complex contract. So learning English would be something that is, I think, necessary for the future. And I think I missed the one on the from the gentleman from the Himalayan Times, but I think we can answer that.
Sure. Okay. Now there is one question also. Maybe this you can cover during the panel discussion. And to our audience, Dr. Somkiat will be one of the panelists also in the panel discussion session. The question is from when Thailand stopped taking the foreign aid. This is from Dr. Kamal Krishna Srestha, sir. So maybe on the foreign aid, maybe during the panel discussion, you can just touch upon. So with this note, I would like to thank all the distinguished participant who put the question, and also Dr. Somkiat for responding wonderfully. Now I would like to pass it to the MC for the rest of the program.
Thank you, Dr. Khatiwada. And thank you everyone for this lively discussion. We will have a detailed discussion in our next session with our esteemed panelists. I am sure you would not want to miss our panel discussion session. I have a small notice from the hotel. a vehicle Tata Safari with number beginning 1464 is blocking the parking lot. A request to please park accordingly. Thank you. The number Tata Safari number beginning 1464. Thank you. So carrying on with our schedule, I would now like to invite our chief guest, Honorable Dr. Bimala Rai Paudel, former Minister, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Government of Nepal, and Member of National Assembly, Federal Parliament of Nepal, for her remarks.
Hey, everybody. Chair of the session and distinguished our guest, Dr. Somkait, all the panelists, also distinguished participants, but also dignitaries. First of all, I would like to congratulate NDRI for its 20th anniversary. So it's a very well-grown, well-developed youth, I would say, in the field of policy research. So congratulations for this achievement so far. I would also like to congratulate Dr. Somkait for a wonderful presentation. This was I'm fortunate that you have the NDRI invited me today so that I could learn a lot of things from Thailand's experience. So congratulations, as well as thanks for coming. This was a wonderful presentation and wonderful discussion that was very insightful in many aspects. So thank you for that. We went through a very impressive story of a journey of Thailand in development, as well as very interesting conversation regarding the value of the think tank. And there are so many questions in my mind, and all those questions were raised by distinguished participants here. The first question that always strikes me is, does government listen to the think tank? Do policymakers listen to the think tank? Or how do we make them listen? So that was always a question, and you answered that very well, Dr. Somkait, that even the 10% of the policy recommendations, if they are listened to and incorporated into policies, that is a success. So that was a kind of very encouraging statement for us, and I hope you agree on that. So congratulations, and thank you again for this very important invitation for me, so that I could learn and I could listen from NDRI as well as from the TDRI. The names are also resembled here, same. As Dr. Somkait already mentioned, the importance of evidence-based policies. We talk a lot about that. I just remember two very, very short, very briefly, I would like to recall two experiences that I have related to evidence-based policy as well as evidence-based actions, I would say, in many cases, because sometimes we have a very nice, very good policies, but we lack the actions. And to jump into the actions, some very small, evidence energizes you to jump to the actions. First, when we were drafting Constitution, as many of us know, that before the constitutions, reproductive right of women, reproductive health right of women was not guaranteed. So if a woman had some problem in uterus, for example, and if a uterus had to be removed from her body, it always required approval from her husband or from her guardians. And many women suffered a lot because of the reluctance of their husbands, because of the male, preferred societies. Fathers were not, husbands were not that, helpful to allow their wives to take the uterus. That was the situation. Once I was studying in Rampur Chitwan, that day I always remember, because that day, it was long before, but that day, what we heard is a woman who had who was pregnant, and the miscarriage was abortion was not allowed that time. So she went to Bharatpur hospital. Hospital said abortion is not allowed. It was an unwanted baby, so she wanted to take it out. So she went to a clinic, and the doctor said, "Come to the evening so that I can help you removing your baby because of abortion." And what happened is, when the abortion was carried out, there was a load shedding. I think something happened in the clinic, and this was dark. And somehow, I don't know how, but it was candlelight was there to help doctor to do the abortion, and the woman died. And that incident was, public through media. It required all, women actually to rethink about the abortion, and it made a lot of public debate that time, asking abortion right for women, asking to legalize the abortion that time. And that didn't work so well. So it took a long time again, passed away. And when we were writing Constitution, I was traveling to Rolpa, and in the plane, one woman was constantly crying. She was just sitting near me. I was asking what happened. And she said her daughter was nurse in Nepalganj. She had uterus prolapse problem. She wanted to remove the uterus. Doctor advised her to remove the uterus. She came to Nepalganj to take the uterus out. Her husband didn't allow. And that's why she was crying, and she was going back home, because her husband wanted another, son. She had only daughters. And that time I was also, grown up and quite actively engaged in women's movement. We had reestablished the democracy, and we were actually drafting the Constitution. So these two evidences we brought straight to the Member of Parliament. That time, the Constitution Assembly members. And we explained it as it is, what happened in Chitwan about 10, 12 years ago, before the Constitution came, and during the time when the Constitution was drafted. And we said, how many women died during this period? Just because of lack of one policy related to abortion. And finally, those two evidences were so strongly internalized by Member of Parliament and by Constitution Assembly member that we were able to, put reproductive health right to women as a women's right. So sometimes the policymakers really need evidences to force them to rethink them and to make changes. This is just one example. There are so many examples. Now, as you know, I was a minister for 42 days in last two months. So I give you one example. When I took oath for a minister, the passport issue was one of the biggest challenges. Everywhere, it was in media, it was everywhere that people were not able to even enroll their form for passport. Luckily, I got a phone call from Sumana Shrestha, who is also one of the Member of Parliament. And she said, "Ma'am, I have done one research identifying where are the constraints in passport making process. So I want to present you. I was so happy. I invited her. I listened to her. And it's not only me. I also called the Department of Passports people to listen to her presentation. She outlined number of stages where the problems lies. And 2 stages, addressing 2 barriers were so easy, so quick. We did it within a week. And it improved a lot. Those challenges were, one was everyone when we filled the application, it was asked that, only one day was open for the date. So everyone had to enter to the same date. That was the earlier system. We made it for 30 days band. So if I want to apply and enroll, I can make appointment for tomorrow, day after tomorrow, till 1 month. The dates were open. With that very simple solution, that opening the date for 1 week to expanding it to 30 days, improved a lot of situation because many people were able to plan their calendars accordingly and enrollment was not an issue. Very simple example, how it helps the policymakers and how it helps for the action. We all know that that's very simple, but we don't do that. Often we policymakers, we don't listen to the think tank. We don't go through the research. And usually as a member of parliament, I have experienced many times that what we talk in the parliament is actually what is there in the media. And nowadays, unfortunately, I would say, social media is shaping the policies, not the research, not the think tanks. It's social media. And this is not very good symptoms for the policy making. So with this context, we have a lot of things to learn from Thailand. We have a lot of, as you said, Doctor, you have highlighted how Thailand developed, but I was just wondering how think tank has been in all this journey, how the think tank have been supporting the development of Thailand throughout the journey. That was very important, and that we learned a lot from you. So thank you again for that. Now, we might have context-specific, issues and context-specific solutions, but I still find a lot of issues and a lot of solutions that Thailand's experience gave us today are, applicable to Nepal as well. So we have learned a lot from you. Needed so far, you very rightly said that the evidence-based policies, I already said. Sometimes it's also important to engage think tank as a mediator between the government and the public. Public sometimes are so suspicious that they don't listen to government, and the government doesn't listen to public. And in that situation, probably the think tank are a good forum for us to bridge this gap. So that also, I think, important. Also, credibility, as we said, credibility, if you lose credibility for once, then the credibility is gone, especially for the organization. So it's very important for that. But challenges that we face today in terms of credibility, it's about being apolitical, being impartial, and finding a really credible solutions for the issues. So there are so many things that we need to learn, and also we need to strengthen and develop ourselves as a good contributor to policy making. Currently, at the moment, as we discussed a lot, is about culture of listening. Culture of listening is needed not only for the policymakers, but also for the think tanks, I would say. Because sometimes what I see important is, some of the issues that I see very, very important, I really lack data. I really lack, contained for that issue so that I can raise it into parliament. I can raise it during the, I can, improve the lawmaking with the data and evidences. And I like them. Sometimes we find a lot of good publications. Maybe, I don't know, because I need to check with NDRI also. I know very few think tanks like IIDS, NDRI, and most recently PRI. PRI is government's their own think tank. I don't know how we decide the issue for research. What enables us to select the right issues for the research? Is it by funding? Is it by people's voice? Is it by experts' own assessment of the situation? There are so many issues that member of parliaments are stuck with. There are so many issues that public really want to address them, and we still lack research on those credible issues. So I think we also need to have a right balance on selecting the issues for the research and also making the policy recommendations. The rest of the things I think are very well covered during the discussions also. I really liked two statements, like, on don't do aspect, like solving the using the microeconomic solutions to address the macroeconomic issues is one of the things that Nepal is also going through. We also have so many examples like that. Similarly, we are still struggling on how to transform a situation where nearly 2/3 people are still engaged in agriculture, producing less than 1/3 of its revenue at the moment. So how do we transform that solutions in Nepal? How do we do that in Nepal? Is still some of the issues. We also have issues related to, the impact of climate change. Last time I went to Melamchi and saw the whole disaster, Halambu and Melamchi. I guess most of us have visited there. And we are not being able to link and tell the public and tell the world that this is because of climate change. We are not yet been able to do that. And that's why we are not getting compensation. We need evidences, especially in the, not only at the national level, but also at the international level during different negotiations that, look, this disaster has come because of climate change. So we need compensation. But without a proper, credible research, we cannot do that. The government is not doing that. And I think think tanks have also not done that. So, there are so many similar compelling issues that require a lot of, research, a lot of investment. And we have a lot of things to do. I have so many issues like that, but I don't want to tell all that. But what I just, before concluding, what I just tell is, in the parliament also, we are lacking the independent desk, I would say, within the parliament to help us with data and with the evidences so that we can make better policies and better act. And for that, we have been advocating for a separate desk or separate department, which is not, political, but provides information and data to all members of parliaments in an equal way, similar way, so that we can use those data and information. And I think NDRI type of organization might be helpful to address that gap. Meeting with member of parliamentarian, supporting MPs with data, with evidences are always useful. And we are very, very keen to cooperate and collaborate further if NDRI or related think tanks find it interesting and easier. Yeah, when we were, I just want to mention that I see Dr. Karki here, he remembers well. when KP Sharma Wali was Prime Minister, he had invited some of us, I remember Dr. Karki was also there, to discuss on an autonomous body type of PRI type of thing. So as a think tank for the government to help the government make better policy, to help the government do the research independently. And we discussed about the Policy Research Institute, which can be one of the think tank for the Prime Minister's office and for the government of Nepal to help with required inputs. But what happened is when we were drafting the bill for PRI, which is still in the parliament, autonomy was one of the biggest challenges that we faced. Sometimes the bureaucrats, the governments, they want input from think tank, but they also want to influence the results of the research. They also want to influence the governance of the think tank. Government also wants to influence the budget. Sometimes they also want to influence the agenda. If you influence the agenda, because if you want research to be done in certain agenda, but if you want to influence the result of the research, then what is the use of think tank? So that was the big issue. And we are still struggling, for your kind information, we are still struggling in that particular bill. Because if you don't have autonomy in terms of governance, in terms of agenda, in terms of budget, the think tanks cannot perform their role. And if they cannot perform the role and lose the credibility, then there's no use of think tank. The issue we have observed in Nepal, we are still struggling through that. And I think it is everywhere that government wants to control that. Dr. Karki, well, he also knows how it is important because he's himself going through the establishment of Nepal University. And we are still struggling for the bill, ensuring the autonomy. It is very, very important. The autonomy is really important for think tank. And that's why having within the government system is good until and unless it ensures autonomy. Otherwise, we have no other way than collaborating with the existing think tanks and listening to them. That's it from me. I again congratulate NDRI. I again congratulate our DDRI for the wonderful presentation and wonderful discussion, and wish you all very successful years to come. As a member of parliament, I'm committed to work in close collaboration, and please feed in data, feed in the evidences, feed in the, when do you do the policy review, feed in with your feedback so that we will find appropriate ways to utilize them in the policy making processes. Thank you so much. Wish you a good day.
Thank you very much, Honorable Dr. Paudel. We have now come towards the end of our inaugural session. I would like to request Dr. Nawaraj Khatiwada, chair of this session, for his closing remarks.
Thank you, Divya. Honorable Dr. Bimala Rai Paudel, chief guest of the event, Dr. Somkiat, keynote speaker, president of TDRI, distinguished panelist, Dr. Shankar Srestha, executive director of NDRI, distinguished participants attending face-to-face and through the virtual platform. When I was listening to Dr. Somkiat, I was recalling a unique and rare fine afternoon we had 20 years ago. There were 7 gentlemen sitting on a round table in a Japanese style, because many of us did our higher studies in Japan. These gentlemen were none other than 7 immediate returnees from abroad, all with PhD degrees, but no job in the market, no announcement in the market that you are required here. So we decided to establish this institute, and thanks to TDRI, and sometimes I talk to my colleagues and friends that TDRI is the elder brother and NDRI is the younger brother, because our name also, as noted by our chief guest, is similar. And that you are our inspiration, and thank you once again for that. Among the 7 members, wonderful thing is 3 of us are here in this hall. And I am pleased to inform you that 5 of the 7 founding members decided to stay back in Nepal, and we are working here. We make Nepal as our country of work. So 5 out of 7. And talking about the 20th anniversary, I think the number 20, all of you are familiar, that indicates the teenage. And 20th anniversary, meaning that we have passed the turbulent teenage. And we have joined the camp of adults and adulthood. You can find our achievements, success stories on the display outside. And you can also visit our website. We have tried to cover most of our achievements in the website also. And you can also meet and discuss with our colleagues, about 40 in number. Half of them are NDRI executive members, and half of them are NDRI staff. And I am very much pleased to see some of our alumni here, both at the hall here and as well as on the virtual platform. I completed my undergraduate degree from India, master's and PhD from Thailand, and I did my postdoctoral research in Japan. Many of my friends during my time, they went to Pakistan. They also went to Bangladesh and also to China. So when I think of this, a deep sense of diversity and heterogeneity comes to my mind. And when I was doing my master's in AIT in Thailand, my professors were from Thailand, Malaysia, Japan, South Korea, China, India, Sri Lanka, Canada, and Denmark. You can now imagine the depth of the knowledge and wisdom I have accumulated with this very much unique and sort of multicultural and diverse learning environment. I am overwhelmed by the diversity and heterogeneity of the participation today. And we are yet to have the panel discussion. And then we have colleagues from different countries as a panelist. I found that today's event will surely be a watershed one if we continue regional, multilateral, and bilateral collaboration and build synergy among us. There are wonderful examples already in the picture. For example, South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, SAARC. The South Asian University, I think, which came out of this SAARC mission that is based in Delhi, New Delhi, India. Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral and Technical Cooperation, BIMSTEC, etc. It is also my pleasure to take a note that Nepal has been entrusted to coordinate the portfolio of people-to-people contact under the BIMSTEC, and a network of policy think tanks has already been established. And I think the Nepal representative, our colleague from SEDA, I think you are also here and thank you for joining us. And so, Nepal Development Research Institute is looking forward to collaborate with the think tanks of the region as well as the whole world. And I would like to thank Dr. Somkiat for providing a wonderful blueprint, or in specific, I would like to say the prescription. Okay, that was, I think, a wonderful prescription you provided during your talk. And that is, I'm sure, is going to pave a way forward, to take our endeavors ahead. So I'm confident that with our efforts, not only we contribute to our nation building, but also bring happiness to billions of people living in this part of the world. I would like to extend my gratitude to Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. Bimala Rai Paudel, for accepting our invitation and enlightening us with your insight. And thank you for inviting us to, provide feedback and some, let's say, some policy paper and our, let's say, the finding to the Parliament. And I would also like to thank all the panelists and distinguished participants, member of NDRI, and our staff and all the alumni. And I take this opportunity to thank you. I said the turbulent teenage, okay, it's not so easy to handle. So in a time when we are flooded with the information, okay. So, but I think whatever we envision, we could keep ourselves on the track. I think the locomotive, our vehicle, was not derailed. So we are here. This is what we can say with the confidence. With this note, I would like to thank once again to all of you. And I would like to, I think there are other, during the tea coffee also, we have some activity. I would like to pass the floor to our MC. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Khatiwada. Before we adjourn this session, I have some announcements. First of all, a notice from the parking lot for a vehicle numbered 027-7175. Please request to please reach there. We will now have a short break. We will use this break to have a group photo session here. After the photo session, please help yourselves with tea and refreshments. In the meantime, have a look at the posters displayed in the hallway. Nearby the posters are also displayed NDRI's knowledge products for you to browse through. We have an important panel session after this break. We will resume our event at 11:30. So may I please request for your presence here by 11:30. Thank you.